The first piece of software in this collection replaces your programmer, and it's of course Buildbox. Now, Buildbox has already been responsible for many top featured games in the App Store, as we've already seen. And with the release of the Buildbox Master Collection, we're unveiling two very special new features. Both of these are something that a lot of people have asked for. The first one is multiple characters, and the second one is real in-game logic. With multiple characters, you'll be able to easily add unlimited characters to your game, just like in our hit game The Lion's Den and also Sky. Setting up and adding these characters is extremely easy, and they're placeable on any screen within the whole entire menu system from the main menu to game over. You can unlock these characters for free, you can use in-game currency, real money like Crossy Roads, or even rewarded videos through HeyZap. This has probably been the most requested feature of all for Buildbox, and we're happy to release it now in unison with the Buildbox Master Collection. We're also very excited about the second feature that we're adding to Buildbox. This has been much requested, and it's a really cool feature. We're adding real-time logic to your games. You'll notice in the asset bar on the left-hand side, there's a new section for logic, and in here we have our first piece of logic called transform. Here's how it works. You simply drag the transform icon over into your game. Now this is invisible. No one can see it while they're playing the game. You can only see it in the scene editor. Now anything that collides with this icon, this transform logic piece in your game, you can change the position, rotation, scale, and velocity. Let's say we want to do a few things in our new game. First off, we want this platform to simply go back and forth over this ravine. It's very simple to set up. We grab the logic piece and we place it right here. Now, first I need to know how fast this platform is moving. I can see it's moving at a speed of -3. So what I'm going to do is change it. So when the platform touches this logic piece, then it's going to change the velocity instead of -3 to +3. By doing that, it's going to go backwards in the opposite direction. Now, obviously we don't want it to keep on going this way forever, so I'm going to duplicate this, bring another one over here, and we're going to change it back to -3. Now let's see how we can do this with an enemy as well. We have this enemy here, but I want him to patrol back and forth on this platform. It's going to be two things we'll have to do. First off, he needs to walk all the way over, but when he gets here, he needs to flip around and make sure he's facing the other direction when he walks back. It's really easy to do with the new logic pieces. First off, we're going to grab a logic piece and drop it right here. And this means as soon as the enemy touches this logic piece, he's going to turn around. Now, how do we make sure that it doesn't affect this platform? It's pretty easy. We just click right here, and then we want the affected asset just to be our enemy here. Now we can see the speed this enemy is moving is -5, so I'm going to click here, and we're going to change this value to +5. We can also see his scale right now is 0.582. We're going to change that by going to -0.582. Now we'll duplicate this and make sure he flips around the other way when he comes back, and we'll just make these values the opposite. We'll put a negative here, and we'll change that to be positive. Now let's see how the game looks. Alright, so here we go. First, our hero is going to jump on this platform, go back and forth over the ravine. Looks like that's working well. We have our enemy here who is scaling backwards every time that he changes position. That's perfect. Now I'm going to show you guys some more advanced stuff, because you don't have to just go back and forth like the enemy in the previous platform. We can jump on this platform, for example, and it's going to go around in a square shape. Pretty cool stuff, but we can even make different things completely. We don't have to just use this for movement. Remember, we can change position, we can change scale. For example, let's say we wanted to create a portal. We can go under here, and we're just changing the position of this rock every time it hits the logic piece. Now I'm going to go into debug mode, and you can see it. See, right now, as soon as this platform hits this logic piece, it turns around. As soon as this ball falls down and hits this logic piece, it falls over here because we changed the position. A really cool feature that a lot of people have asked for. Real logic inside of Buildbox, and it's the first of many to come in the future. We're really excited about it. If you already own Buildbox, you get these two features for free in the latest version, which is released today. Also, if you're a Buildbox customer and you decide to purchase the Buildbox Master Collection, do not worry. We're going to let you trade in Buildbox. We'll immediately take $2,675 off the price of this collection for all Buildbox customers. So that's Buildbox, and since we all know Buildbox already, we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about it. But it is a major part of this collection. It replaces your programmer, which is one of the most expensive parts of any game studio. The second software that comes with the Buildbox Master Collection is called Animation Box. And as you'll see, this is absolutely killer. If you've ever created game art in the past, you know that creating fluid, high quality animations is next to impossible. Even the best artists in the world rarely have the skill of animation. It's a completely different set of skills. And the good news, with Animation Box, you'll never need an animator or even an illustrator again. This software allows you to create and animate an unlimited amount of amazing characters and enemies. Extremely high quality stuff from beginning to end. Now, just like Buildbox, it's drag and drop easy. Very easy to use this software. And actually, all of the software in the Master Collection is very simple to use. That was a big goal when creating this. So here's how it works. When you open up the software, you'll notice there's three main sections. On the left-hand side, we have all the included art. We'll talk about this in a second. A huge amount of art is already built inside of Animation Box. In the middle section is where you actually animate your character. Here we have a character which is walking with a machine gun. Actually, it kind of looks like it's a Nerf gun. I'll show you guys this at full speed in a second. Then on the right-hand side, we can choose from different animations. For example, we can choose a run animation, we could choose walk, and we even have things like walking serious or walking funny style like a cartoon character might do. Then at the very bottom, we can change the speed. Right now we're going at 0.01, very slow speed. But no matter what speed you choose, when you export, it's 60 frames a second. It looks absolutely phenomenal, really, really smooth animations. All right, so we're gonna go back and choose a speed of 1. All right, now we're seeing the silly walk here, but let's look at more of a serious walk. All right, that looks pretty cool. Now we can also check out the jump, and then of course idle, just standing still, and then the attack. And since he has a machine gun, we see that he's attacking and shooting with the gun. All right, now let's have some fun. Let's say that we really wish we had a girl character instead. All we have to do is highlight the head. We grab one of the many heads that we have, over 250, and then we just drop it right here, and then we can resize it as needed. Now, we can hit play, and we can see it looks pretty good, and we might want to change out the torso and some other items as well, but let me show you something pretty cool. Let's say we wanted to try a big-headed character like this. All we have to do is immediately resize the head, and we can see it in action, and we see it in every single one of the animations. Let's say instead you'd rather have a cat. We can head over to animals, and then we can choose this cat lion set. And after loading the images onto the skeleton, and we do include multiple save files, so you won't have to do this yourself, then we have idle, jump, we have attack, multiple attacks, sit, walk, and of course, run. Pretty cool stuff, and this all works off of our skeleton system. If we start deleting all these items, you'll notice all it really is this skeletal system with images attached to it. Now, this is cool for a couple different reasons. First off, we can see it playing by itself, and you can imagine you can put anything on this. If we go over to the dog section, for example, then it's going to move a little bit different because dogs move a little bit different than cats do. And if we head over to the squid section, it's going to be very different, and the same for the spider. But when you start adding art to this is when it gets really cool. Because you can make up nearly anything you can dream up, even if it's really strange spider women with sword feet like Nick likes to create. I asked Nick for a spider demo and this is what I got. But still, pretty cool use of the assets. Speaking of the assets, let's talk about what all assets come with Animation Box because it's a lot. While you can import your own art, we knew that most people would not want to do that. So we went out and spent $17,000 creating art just for Animation Box. We made 250 heads, 150 arms, 150 torsos, 50 legs, 150 hands, and 150 feet. It is a lot of high quality assets. And as you can tell, not only is the quality really amazing, the art was specifically created for Animation Box. It's all separated into parts, and it's very easy to mix and match. Proportionally, it was created like this on purpose. Also, this is just one artist team we hired and a small portion of the assets. These guys are top notch, and they're currently working with the World of Tanks team to create assets for their new game. So that's just a small sample of the art we've included in Animation Box. It's a massive pack, and to show you how big it is, I'm going to tell you a funny story. We were curious how many combinations of characters you could make just with our included art, not including any art that you would add to it. And we figured it out. Just with the included art inside Animation Box, you can create 18,984,375,000,000 different characters. Pretty wild, and that's not including the proportion effects or changing the bone structure, as we'll soon discuss. So now let's see how you would use this art. When you open Animation Box, you're going to see a skeletal structure with no images attached. Now we're going to give you guys a lot of save files, so you can open those save files and immediately play with a character. Or if you're feeling adventurous, you can build your own. What we would first want to do is choose a head. And then we're going to assign the head to one of these points. Obviously the one up top is probably optimal, but you can actually put the head wherever you'd like. So I'm going to grab this head, and I'm going to put it right here. All right, great. So now I could scroll through these thousands of images and try to find the perfect arm for him, or I can go down here to the tag section. I know he's part of set 1 because he has the set 1 tag. Now if I click this, it's only going to pull up assets that go with set 1. That way it's going to be a lot easier for me to find. Now, if we hover over any of these, then we'll be able to see the tag. So we'll know that this goes to the left foot, and we'll know that this one here is his pelvis. All right, so I'm going to grab the pelvis, and we're going to drop it right here. Now let's see what this character looks like once we add in all of the assets. So here's our hero, and he's looking pretty good. We're honestly ready right now for production. We could output all the animations, which are going to all work seamlessly. We have the walk, walk serious, walk funny. We have another walk funny. We have run, run fast, and more. And we can scroll down and see what this would look like on a device. It would look really good, very smooth. But we don't have to stop there if we don't want to. With Animation Box, we can take it further. Inside Animation Box, there's two different ways that you can vastly edit and change your character's look and feel. The first way is through changing proportions. The second way is through skeletal changes. Let's check out proportions. If you want to change the size of a character's head or arm or any part of its body, you simply highlight that section and then you change the size, and that's it. It immediately works between all the different animation styles, from walk to run to idle and even death. Now, if you want to make an arm bigger, it's the same process. You just change the size of the arm or the hand or any other object, and it just immediately works. And we could do this for everything from the torso all the way down to the leg. So that's proportions. Now I'm going to show you guys the skeletal changes. Anytime you click on this button right here, you'll see the skeleton of your character, and it moves with all of the animations. Now if we click on the button right next to it, we go into animation editing mode. This is where you can actually edit the skeleton. It's pretty cool. First off, you'll notice all of the skeleton turn green. Now we can actually move the joints around instead of just the images. And we can move these joints in really wild ways, and then of course edit the image proportions as well. Then we can hit play and see what it looks like. This is how we can make a character really tall. We could change all of these joints and make the character really tall, really short, however we want. We could change everything about how this character moves. And if we were really in a wild mood, we could make this character turn into a monster. We could grab his torso, turn it completely upside down. And then we could grab his hips and pull them way off to the side. We could take his head here, turn it back around up, and then rotate it. And now we have a pretty weird looking guy here. And again, all the animations are going to work, even the funny walks and the runs and the super fast runs, even the jumps. Pretty fun stuff, but I think I like the way he originally looked the best. Now, if we wanted to make this guy an enemy, it would be really easy to do. For example, I have a fish from a game I'm working on called Aqua Dog. And we could just bring this fish into Animation Box and replace his head. It actually looks pretty good. It matches the character and all the animations still work great. But let's try to create something really unique. Let's create a monster from a cat animation, just using assets that we have inside of Animation Box. All right, remember this cute guy from before? Well, not as cute now. We made this guy an enemy by putting him on a cat animation frame, and then we squeezed his head, we duplicated his body. All right, we used arms for his legs and feet. Looks really crazy, right? This would be a good enemy in a game. But what's really cool is since we used this cat animation, check this out. All the other animations work perfectly. The sit, the walk, we have a great attack here, and it all looks good. We of course have idle and even have licking like a cat might do. So pretty cool stuff, and as you can see, you can have a really good time with this software. You can get lost in this software just goofing off and making crazy creations. Finally, this isn't only for really high-end games with great graphics. You can do this for simple minimal games as well. If there's one thing I've noticed about the minimal scene in the past year is that it's gotten more professional. It used to be that you could make a very simple game, the graphics didn't have to be that great, and if it was addictive, it could do well. But those days are gone. Now, even the minimal games are very polished. We can look at Ketchup or any of the big publishers in the App Store and see that. The successful Buildbox games are really polished. And when you use animation, even with your simple games, you can really make it have a professional feel. Also, animation can provide emotion, even to the most simple characters. You can have a stick figure that looks happy, or you can have one that looks sad. And we know that emotion really drives attachment to a game. And I think this is a cool way to do it, even if your game is simple. So that's Animation Box. We're really excited about this software. It's a big addition to the Buildbox family and something we've been working on for a very long time. You can animate everything from humans and animals to insects and sea creatures. It's easy to export both for Buildbox or any other game creation platform. And with $17,000 worth of art inside, you can create amazing characters without having to hire an animator or even an illustrator. Now let's check out the next piece of software in the Buildbox Master Collection. It's software number 3, and it's appropriately called Soundbox. What Animation Box does for character creation and animation, Soundbox does for all the music and sound effects in your game. This software has been a pet project of mine, and what we've created is just as unique as Animation Box. Let's check it out. Cool, and that's just a small taste of what this software does. With Soundbox, once again, we spend a lot of time on the content, the assets inside of the software. We spent over $13,000 and this time hired 6 professional game audio engineers to create 5,270 different files that sit inside the software. And it's really interesting how you're going to use these sounds to create an unlimited amount of music effects, atmospheres, and user interface noises in your game. Well, this is pretty awesome in itself, the content. You'll soon see that Soundbox is much more than just a sound browser. You'll be mixing and matching and arranging these sounds to create truly unique experiences within your game that rival the quality of professional music producers. So here's how it works. First off, you'll notice like all of our software, it's drag and drop easy. To get started, you simply think about what you want to create, then you start to drag in our included sound files and you start building. So what we've done is broken all of these sounds into 4 categories: game sounds, user interface sounds, music creator, and music loops. These categories have anywhere from 500 sounds upwards to almost 2,000 sounds in them, depending on what it is. Now, each of these categories breaks down into subcategories. For example, game sounds breaks down into crash sounds, defeated sounds, fall sounds, shoot sounds, and hit sounds. And each one of these subcategories has hundreds of sounds in them. In this example, let's say that we have a monster character, and we want to make a sound for when the monster dies. Now, most people would use a single sound, probably like this. Not bad, but using Soundbox, we're going to take this sound to the next level. So first off, let's load up this monster death sound into Soundbox. We could look in the defeated sound category, but it's even easier just to use the search function and type in monster into the search box. Now, I'll drag Monster Dead 2 over into the software. There we go. So it's the same sample. While it doesn't sound bad by itself, it needs much more of a punch. How about we add a crash sound to the mix? I'll just choose game sounds from the drop-down menu, head over to crash noises, and here we'll check out some of the distance explosions like this one. Nice, let's bring that sound into Soundbox, but lower the volume and slightly fade it in since it's such a big noise. We don't want it to overtake the monster sound completely. Now let's also cut the beginning off of this monster sound. I think it's going on slightly too long. And then we'll fade out the monster noise so it doesn't come to an abrupt end. Alright, that's sounding pretty good. Now while we could definitely stop now, we might as well throw some music at the end since we have over 1,700 song loops to choose from. We'll just type Game Over into the search box and find Game Over loops that were built for this very purpose. Alright, let's scroll down slightly and we'll choose this one, Cinematic Drama Game Over. We're going to drag it into the software and maybe cut it in half since it's pretty long. Alright, there we go. Finally, we'll fade it out so it ends with a nice dramatic tone, and we'll see how this all sounds together. Not bad at all. Now let's hear how it sounds versus the original. Alright, so as you can see, it's much more professional and it only took about 2 minutes to complete. Next, I would probably bring in some more sounds like broken glass and hit noises to really pack a punch, but instead, I'm going to show you probably my favorite part of the software. As we mentioned, there are over 1,700 songs built into Soundbox that are perfectly looped and made for video games. You can easily bring in this music, and it has every major genre including ambient, atmosphere, cinematic, cute songs, dance, electronic, pop, retro, rock, and world music. Pretty much anything you can think of, any genre you can think of, we have it included. And like all of the assets in the Buildbox Master Collection, it's really high quality. I want you guys to hear this. We'll play just a few quickly, then I'll talk about the music creator. So as you can see, really high quality music, 1,700 different loops like that you can choose for any type of game you can think of. While this is great, we wanted to take things a step further with Soundbox. We wanted to create a piece of software when anyone could actually create new music, even if they have no clue how to do this. This way your music will directly fit the inspiration and feel of your game. So we did this with a new category called the Music Creator. And using this category, anyone can create professional music for their game. It's very easy to use. You don't have to understand music theory or know how to play an instrument. Let me show you how it works. After selecting Music Creator from the drop-down menu, you'll see 27 subcategories. All of these contain different musical parts. Within these subcategories, you will build nearly any type of music you can imagine, from ambient to rock and roll. Let's try to build out a quick dance song. First, let's check out the drums percussion subcategory and grab the first 2 percussion loops. Alright, cool, let's play these to see how they sound. Awesome, a pretty nice little world music start here, but I'm going to bring down this brushes loop slightly. The volume's a little bit too loud. Now I'm going to move to the ambient support subcategory and grab an ambient sound to layer on top. Let's get this first one here and see how it sounds with the percussion. Nice, that sounds really good. And since I know that most all these sounds are going to work together, I'm going to grab a random loop in the ambient bass subcategory and throw that in. Alright, let's also grab a drum top, and we'll go ahead and get a random one there, and then get a random kick. Let's choose one from the drum kick electronic subcategory. Alright, so now that we have some more things in here, let's go ahead and see how it sounds. perfect. Now I've got a completely unique song to use in my game. No one's going to have a song that sounds like this. But maybe you can't stand sci-fi games, and maybe you would never want 80s cyberpunk music in your game like I would. With the music creator section of Soundbox, you can create nearly any genre you can think of, from dance to hard rock. For example, here's a quick multi-genre demo I made. It took me about 15 minutes, and this is only using the music creator sounds in Soundbox. Pretty cool stuff. That's the music creator. And I should mention, you can mix and match any of the sounds. You can mix the game sounds with the music creator and the music loops. There's over 5,000 sounds. You can mix them and match them however you would like. We have fills, sound effects, and more at your disposal. And this is just the beginning for Soundbox. We've also included editing options like shortening the beginning and the ends of sounds and fading in and out. All the things you'll need to make really good music and sound effects in your games. You can change the volume of individual sounds, the master volume, export to multiple MP3 bit rates, and there's no limit to how many sounds you can mix up and layer together. And finally, while it's great to have all of these sounds at your disposal, you can import your own sounds as well. You simply drag and drop them into the software. So that's Soundbox. Software number 4 that comes with the Buildbox Master Collection is called Iconbox. This is the only software in the world dedicated solely to making great looking icons in lightning speed. And icons are extremely important to your game business, and here's why. They are the first impression in the app world. If your icon doesn't impress, then all bets are off. And this is one reason that high-end icon designers can charge $700 to design a single icon. Now you're probably wondering who would actually go and spend $700 on an icon. Semi-embarrassed to admit this, but I've actually done it before. So, and even really to up the ante of stupid on this whole thing, I didn't release the game, so it was a total loss. But anyway, that's another story for another time. But the point is, there's a big market for this, and the reason is because it's so important. It is the first impression of your game, and it can make or break a game that gets featured or has chart placement. People either see the icon and touch it, or they don't. So while most people aren't going to go spend $700 on an icon, it does happen for this reason. But with Iconbox, you can easily build amazing icons by accessing thousands of pre-built images that we have in the software. You're probably seeing a theme here. Once again, it's software that's supported with grade A content. And within Iconbox, there's over 2,000 custom images that we had created by top user interface designers just for this specific purpose. You won't find these images anywhere else on stock photo sites or for sale online. It was all built just for Iconbox. Here was our process for this. First, we went and analyzed all of the 3 top lists in the App Store. We looked at the top free list, the top paid list, and the top grossing list. And then we wrote down all the commonalities we saw with the icons. And there were a lot of things, everything from color ranges, very specific color ranges, all the way to the background stylings. We saw similar patterns, like a lot of starburst, or we would notice that people were using a specific glow effect. And we took all this data, hired 6 different user interface artists, and created a massive pack of assets specifically for this purpose. It worked out really well. We ended up having over 2,000 images, and we broke these down into 5 different categories. For example, in the background category, you'll find all sorts of backgrounds for your icon. There's over 500 different ones to choose from, including starbursts, light leaks, gradients, abstract patterns, skies, landscapes, minimal scenes, and more. In the borders category, we have over 250 borders of every shape, size, and pattern you can think of. We have a lot of flat borders that will go great with minimal style simple games. Also, we have some 3D borders like treasure chests and wooden boxes, stones. As you can see, this was created by really great designer as well. The 3D modeler we hired for this job is fantastic. Really high quality stuff. In the objects category, we have 400 different images, 2D and 3D. So we have 2D rocks, saw blades, boxes, and engines. And then we have 3D swords and stars and hearts and chains and a lot more. Some really cool elements there. And finally, you can use any of 600 different symbols from the symbols category. And this ranges from gamepads to paw prints. It's really great for minimal games, especially if you need elements like cubes and crosshairs and bolts, checks, clouds, or exclamations. All in all, a really cool collection of assets, thousands of different images that you can use, created by some amazing artists. It's over 2,000 different images. At $4 per asset, this brings the value of just the content inside of Iconbox to over $8,000, and that's not including the special effects. There's 100 different glow, shadow, fire, explosion, abstract, space, and aura effects built into the software. This stuff can add a really cool dramatic flair to your icon. So you've seen some of the assets that are inside Iconbox, and you've also seen some icons that we've created. Now let us show you how to actually make them with the software. So I'm here looking at different backgrounds that we have included in our assets. And I think I like this one right here. The first thing I can do is right click this and assign it a color. I can also change the thumbnail preview size here from small, medium to large. Now, I'm decided I'm going to bring this over into the editor. So I'm just going to drag it and drop it right here. And you can see we have these nice guides to make sure it snaps into place. All right, now if I want to add a similar element, I can go down here to the tags section. So we can see this one has the tags dark, highlight, abstract, orange building, and a few more, including pink. Now I want to find some more pink elements. So I'm going to click on pink, and then we'll show all the pink backgrounds here. All the 2,000 plus images built inside of Iconbox are tagged so you can easily sort them. Then of course at any time we can highlight that, erase, and then we're back to looking at the regular backgrounds. I'm going to grab this one over here as well and layer that on top. Now right now I obviously have hidden the layer underneath, but now we're going to talk about adjusting these layers. First off, I can move this around easily like that, and of course we have undo and redo. But what I want to show you guys next is really interesting. We have a lot of adjustments here that you can do to each layer. Of course, we have brightness. We also have contrast. And then we have hue, and this one's really important. Let's say you see a background and you like it, but instead of blue, you want a fire orange and red. Well, you can change the hue and cycle through over 16 million different colors. Then we also have saturation. And then we have opacity if we wanted to have that see-through. That's pretty cool. But where things get really interesting is when we get to blending. If you're not familiar with blending, this is really exciting. Now I'm going to click down here and we're going to choose overlay. And now you can see we have this really cool neon effect. And what it's done is it's overlaid these colors and it's blended them with the image underneath it. All right, now I really like that. And if I wanted to, I could start changing the hue and make it overlay different colors and even look more unique. But I think this one's perfect for the icon I want to make right now. Now, from this point, I would move over to borders, put a border on this icon, and possibly objects, but there's a lot already going on, and then symbols and effects if needed as well. But instead, let's build a cool 3D icon real quick to show off what Iconbox can really do. Now, the first thing I'm going to need is a background. So I'll go ahead and grab this background here, then I'll head over to borders. One of my favorite borders is this one right here, but to switch it up a little bit, I'm going to turn the saturation down, make it look like it's silver, and then turn the contrast a little bit up. Now we're going to place a jewel in here. So what I'm going to do is move this around a little bit so we can see these shadows. That way it looks like it's a mat inside of this cool looking box. Finally, I'll pull this part down here, and then we'll go get our jewel from objects. Since we're at an angle, I'm just going to grab this first one right here. We'll make it a little bit smaller, and we'll also make sure that this part is above. So we have this little handle here above the jewel. Now we can also change the hue. That's why all these jewels are blue. We can choose any color that we want. I kind of like this yellow, but I think we need to make the contrast a little bit brighter. Get rid of the green in there by making it bright yellow if possible. Yeah, I think that'll work. And then we also want to change the hue of this. Let's make it a darker purple. And we'll turn the contrast down a little bit as well. Now we're looking pretty good. Next, I'm going to turn the brightness up one more time on this, but not too much. There we go. And we're going to head over to effects. Let's scroll down and grab one of these starburst effects. All right, pretty cool and bright. You'll notice it says screen over here. That's because we automatically blend these effects. Now what we're going to do is make this a little bit smaller. We're going to put it right over the corner here. I think that looks good, but I think we can even go with a lighten effect there. Yeah, that looks cool. I'm going to change the opacity a little bit so it's not quite so bright, and we're going to turn it to the side. Then we could change the hue here to yellow to match the color of the gem. Finally, we're going to do something cool. We're going to head back over to backgrounds. Now we're going to add a filter just like Instagram. Now this doesn't look like it would fit the motif of this app at all, but if we go down here and we choose overlay, you can see it blends all the colors together. That's a little dramatic, so we're going to go ahead and pull it down a little bit, but I think it does brighten things up and make it kind of cool. Here we can see it without. We have a totally different image when we overlay this cool brown image on there. We could also change the hue and start playing around with really crazy colors, but I think I like the original color. And I think that's a pretty good looking app icon. Doing this final overlay is really a good idea if you want your colors to blend together well. So here it is, our final icon. And what's remarkable is this took under 2 minutes to create. And it's just one of countless possibilities that you can do with Iconbox. Now, the final thing I want to show you guys with Iconbox is a really cool feature called Preview. Iconbox shows you what your app will look like on iPhone, iPad, and also Android. But what's even cooler is you actually see it in real time, both in the store and on device. Here's what I mean. So I'm working on this Cyber Shield game here. Now, let's say I'm not sure about this part and I want to delete it. You can see in real time, it actually changes on the preview. For example, we move this sword over and you'll see it happening in real time on the preview. If we want to change the hue, then we'll see it update in real time while we're playing with the app. It's a really cool feature that lets you see exactly what's going on while it's happening. Let's try pulling in one of these honeycomb colors. And then let's go ahead and add this as an overlay. And then bring it down a little bit more. And again, we see it in real time. And not only is it a very cool feature, it's also important because you want to see what your game's going to look like on the iPhone or on the Android. You want to see what it's going to look like on device with the icon being a lot smaller. For example, I think this one looks a lot better than our original. So I definitely want to keep these changes. All right, guys, so that is Iconbox. Really excited about this software. Now, I should mention exporting is just one click. It exports the whole entire set for Android, iPad, iOS, or full resolution. You can even use it for Mac App Store apps. And as far as we know, this is the only icon creation software like this that's ever been made. So we're really excited to bring this out with the Buildbox Master Collection. Now it's time to discuss the fifth and final piece of software that comes with the Buildbox Master Collection. And we've saved one of the best for last. It's called ImageBox. ImageBox is our new software that is a game creation scratchpad. It's the starting point for your game. Before you even crack open Buildbox or any other software, you'll start here. Inside ImageBox is 11,937 different game images that you'll have a full license to use, including 250 fully animated characters and enemies that consist of more than 9,000 individual frames, 500 parallax multi-layer background images, 350 plus objects, 100 logo splash screens, and 40 complete user interface sets that include everything from start buttons to in-app purchases. This is the best of the best from our personal collection. We've created over 100 games over the years. We've had a lot of games hit the top of the App Store, and a lot of these assets you have seen in our previous games. And you can build a multitude of games just with this software alone. So here's how it works. Imagebox is split into 3 different sections. We have the image browsing section, we have the workbench, and then we have the editing section. Let's first check out the image browser. Over here we can choose from multiple categories including UI, platforms, backgrounds, logo splashes, characters, and objects. You can see I've chosen characters here, and we have hundreds of different characters to choose from. If we hover over a character, we can see its animation. And then we can drag any character that we like over to our workbench. The workbench is your creative playground for any new game. You'll be able to search through thousands of images through our tagged search system, also browse by category, and choose the assets you think will work best for your new game and drag them into the workbench. Here you'll be able to see if they look cohesive together. You'll be able to preview them and also edit some of their properties. After bringing items into the workbench and deciding on a look and feel for your game, you can always highlight an item and hit spacebar to preview it in full size. This works for any sized image that you'll have. Then you can also choose to rotate, flip horizontally, change the DPI, and even the size percentage. Once you're ready to export, you simply go to File and Export, and all of your images are collected in a nice and neat folder structure. While the organization, formatting options, and workbench are really cool, what's truly a game changer for your business is the vast image collection you'll receive with this software. First, let's look at characters. There are 250 complete animation sets here that can be used as characters or enemies. This means it has all the animations included, from idle, running, jumping, etc. We've neatly sorted these into multiple categories, and you have everything here from helicopters to zombies, and as you can see, the quality is extremely high. There are 250 different background sets. This includes a total of 523 layered images that you can mix and match to create countless different scenes for your games. There are also 350 object sets. This totals 607 different images and has all sorts of different objects that you can use in your game, from crates to wheels and more. We also have 700 different tiled, short, and long platform images, 40 different complete user interface sets, which contain 687 individual images, and then finally 100 logo splashes that you can use for your main menu to give your game a more professional touch. It's truly a massive collection of high quality art. You won't find this anywhere else either. In fact, we've never heard of anyone else releasing a package of game art this big. Unfortunately, we don't have time to look at all 11,937 images, but to help you visualize this full package, let's quickly do a breakdown of its value. We'll start with characters. When we buy art, we pay about $120 per complete character. That's assuming you get a pretty good deal. But let's say since you're buying in bulk, you get a steal at $80 per character. It's rare, if not impossible, at this quality, but we want to make this a best case scenario. With 250 characters, this brings us to $20,000, and we're just getting started. Getting high quality art made, especially with animations, is not cheap. And unfortunately, backgrounds are even more expensive. In the past, we've bought backgrounds for $150 each, but let's say you work some magic and you get background and midground sets made for $100 each. This is a great deal, but it will still cost you $25,000 more to get a package of 250. So as you can see, this adds up quickly. Now we're at a grand total of $45,000, and we haven't gotten to the 350 game objects, the 40 UI sets, the 180 platform sets, or the 100 logo splashes. Since you bought in bulk, you can expect to pay around $40 for each of these. Actually, this would be insanely cheap. One UI set, for example, contains 17 different buttons, but again, let's assume you got the best deal ever. If you paid $40 just for each UI, object, platform, and logo sets, it would add an additional $26,800 to the total. So the total cost of creating this complete package is around $71,800, and that's on the low end. And that's assuming you had great connections with art houses and that you could get deals cut on bulk. And the reason we know this is because we've purchased all of this art over the past multiple years. It's taken about 4 years to build this collection. And we've made over 100 games to our different game companies, and it's taken a long time to build this. And listen, we understand that no one's gonna go out and spend $70,000 buying a lot of art at one time. But the point of this is to visualize how massive this collection is. It's kind of hard when someone just says, hey, there's 11,000 images. It's kind of hard to see that, right? We've had a lot of amazing people work on this package, and that's Imagebox. It's an all-in-one solution, and it gives you enough high-quality assets that you can create an unlimited number of games. And then you put this with Animation Box, and it's the perfect complement. They really alleviate the need for hiring designers at all. You can build completely fleshed out, very high-quality games without ever paying for an artist.